What have you been doing since you landed with your family?
We went to. I just threw my stuff down in the hotel in the room, and then we walked up, kind of met everybody, introduced ourselves, went over like the schedule, and then we went to eat at I think it was Tony's, and then walked back here and saw you guys. So it really not much, but ate some good food at least.
What'd you have at Tony's?
We had some chicken. What do you usually get? What?
Chicken
Parmesan chicken. Yeah. No, chicken Parmesan.
You been to New York before?
Once when I was like 15. I came up here on my little brother's school trip, just as a side. But and then some vodka sauce pasta and a lot of other stuff. So it was good.
Stetson, where were you when you found out you were a finalist? And what was sort of the reaction for you?
I was at the Burlesworth down in Arkansas, and Knox, my little brother, came up to me and told me and tapped me on or grabbed my arm, and I could see it in his face, and I was like, oh. So I kind of knew what it was, because I knew, of course, when the nomination was coming out, I was like, I'd like to go. It'd be pretty cool. And so when he told me, it's hard to like have a thought, or it was tough to take it in because I was in the middle of, the Burlesworth, and I was like, I don't want to, celebrate some other award while I'm there, but it's like the Heisman Trophy, right? And a lot of emotion. I've had a little bit more time now to think about it and how special it is.
What's it sort of mean to you now? Like you said, you've had
It means a lot. I mean, I think it's it means that we had a really good team. Means that a lot of other people, did a lot of things so that I could play well and get this, I don't know. I think I'm gonna save a little bit. I don't want to say everything on, I don't know. But it is kind of crazy, just to be up here. Walked on here. I'm glad you guys are here. It's like a bunch of familiar faces at least. I get homesick sometimes. I don't know. It's crazy. It's special, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this whole thing is and get to know, Max and Caleb and CJ a little bit better.
It's pretty well documented how confident you are in yourself. Did you ever think that this would be a possibility, making it to New York, being up for the Heisman Trophy?
I don't think I ever thought about it, especially not in the, when some people or outside people say confidence in yourself, and I've got confidence into myself, but it's more so to like confidence in myself to do a job for this team, and it's less so confidence, I think I'm as good as a quarterback as anybody, but I don't think about it in the way as like I'm the best quarterback, because there's so many different variables and different offenses and things that you're asked to do, and who do you have around you, and there's so many different variables, and I know you guys in media and in general like to create storylines, and I like to read the storylines when just when it's maybe not about me, but so I never thought about it that way because I've understood that it's a lot of different things go into it, and no, I really never really entertained the thought of. I think Buster told me preseason. He said, we've got faith in you that you might this might happen if we go. And I think I just heard it and I was like, yeah, what does that mean, right? But shoot, he was a little bit right at least.
How important has been Buster Faulkner to your development? Referencing when you were this sort of speech.
Yeah.
One day, you mentioned it right there. He's off-field analyst. How important has he been to your development as a quarterback?
I think he's been extremely important. He's the one. He runs us through the drills. Just talk ball. But I think probably the main thing that he's helped at is just on the sideline. Like he is the mediator between me and Monk. me and Monk don't really talk during the games, which I think is probably a good thing. Just because we're both so, I don't know, whatever you want to call us.
Passionate.
Yeah. And but so Buster listens to what Monk says and filters it out. Obviously, doesn't tell me everything because I don't, people say stuff in the heat of the moment, and Monk's gonna say stuff, and I don't need to hear all that, every time, just because nature, he doesn't need to hear everything I have to say, right? And it's just not important. So he does. Buster keeps me sane, keeps me in the moment, keeps me, helps me out. What are you seeing here with this play? And all that stuff. But his presence is comforting, and he's a damn good football coach.
Listen, I know you got a championship to win, but I'm thinking your progress as a player and how maybe that has improved to the point where now like a professional career is pretty much in the cards for you. Where do you think you've improved as a quarterback? I don't want to say as a pro prospect, but let's just say as a quarterback. What are the things that you feel like make you a more likely NFL player?
Well, I think my mechanics have gotten shored up. Sometimes they're off still, but I think I know how to get them back to being right quicker. Whereas, maybe a little bit last year, it was more so, I'm throwing it pretty good today. I don't really know why, but it's coming out pretty nice, And now I know how that is and how to get back if I do. Now, I can't think too much about it because then I really screw myself up, but one of those happy mediums. And then just thinking about the game, just understanding the game. What are we actually trying to accomplish here, right? What is it? And that was in the summer, just breaking it down. Okay, what is the game of football? All right, well, it's 11 on 11 with like these kind of rules, and like it's 100 yards by 53 and a quarter, whatever. The hashes are here, man, zone, first downs, third, just boiling it down, just so I could, understand what we're trying to accomplish each play better. So I think I've got that.
The offense seems, from an outsider, to be leaning on you more. It seems like it has, quote unquote, opened up more this year. Has it?
Yeah, I'd definitely say we throw the ball more this year. For whatever reason. But yeah, I'd say we throw the ball more, and we're scoring more points this year. So it is, so far, has been more explosive, and there has been more asked of me this year, which has been fun for me, and I've enjoyed it a lot. But I think that comes from me earning it, me being good enough to do that, right? I don't think I necessarily was last year. Some spots, but not all the time. And I think that also goes to show just how much work like our entire offensive team put in this offseason, as well as Monk and the other position coaches. But mainly, you look how much better Darnell is at running routes and going. He plays every play. And our offensive line, I've gotten sacked 7 times. Obviously Brock, but Ladd coming in. When has a dude that looks like me caught for that many touchdowns in an SEC? Dude. And if he would stay up, he'd have a few more, right? But dude's incredible. And we all love football, and we are all. Monk's helping us, and the coaches are doing such a good job of helping us understand ball. So now we can play together as one, I think.
Stetson, last year you won the national championship, favored to do so again, now a Heisman Trophy finalist. It still seems like people try to take away from your game, though, and diminish your importance. Just how do you respond to people that keep on doubting you?
I really, people are gonna. We were actually, us quarterbacks were actually just talking. People are gonna have opinions, and it's not my job to do that. I've got enough on my plate. I walked on here, so I got to focus on doing my job. Otherwise, I just don't think that I'm gonna do it as well. But as far as replying to people who say whatever they say about something that they don't really know anything about, I don't really have anything.
Part of that, when you talk about storylines, for some reason you're kind of the guy that gets the wrath of, Hendon Hooker should be there. I'm sure you've seen some of that. Is that kind of along the same lines of just ignoring that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, also I don't think it's fair to Hendon. He's a great player. I don't think he should be spoke of in that light. I think he should be getting respect for the year that he had, and not what could have been, but what was. He almost not single-handedly, but was a main factor in that program changing course. So that's always silly to me. And as far as me getting hate for it, doesn't bother me really because I didn't make that call.
Sure.
So.
Does it at all provide, I know you try to ignore a lot of that stuff and you can't read and hear everything, but does that provide a little extra motivation, or do you not need any more motivation?
Which part?
Just the people constantly doubting you, the Hendon Hooker conversation and all that.
I'd say it probably keeps me humble. I don't go into workout with a copy of a tweet.
Yeah.
But it probably should it's almost more of a culture thing. And I mean that in the way that those, thousands of not good enoughs that you talk about have kind of seeped into my brain. I'm not saying that I'm not good enough, but saying all right, well, you're not there yet. Because I remember what it was like to not be there then, and it did kind of suck. And so now it's just in my well, we're still not there yet, so we're going to still keep going.
Stetson, you're here largely because of the way you play against the best teams, Oregon, LSU. What is it about you that you can extract a little more against those teams? What is it about just maximizing your ability in those games that they really need you to do?
Well, I will. No, I won't say that. But
You could say it.
I don't know, man. There's, my uncle always told me, or not always, but he told me once a few weeks ago, I want to get it right. He said, if you don't have any choice, it's easy. So, figure out a way,
Are you a guy that watched Heisman Trophy ceremonies growing up?
No, I watched the highlights of the guys who won them, more so than the actual ceremony, I think.
Anyone in particular you remember?
Yeah. Like Johnny Football. Dude was a rock star. He was king of the world. Yeah, so what's that guy?
Stetson, talk about Coach Muckin the last couple of years playing for him. Air raid guy, he's made it work with some pro style stuff. Just kind of talk about playing for him.
Yeah, obviously we, butt heads. He benched me, and so that hurt. But now we're cool, and I think we're better off for that for sure. Going through all those ups and downs, trials and tribulations, and I mean the dude just knows how to prepare and knows how to call plays. And I know he said in a lot of his speeches he's kind of giving the credit to other people, and rightfully so. We've got a lot of good coaches who do a lot of good things, but I mean it started changing when he got there, right? And he's intense, and he expects you to do right. And sometimes we don't see it the same way, but at the end of the day, I know his goal, no matter what, bar none, is for us to score points. That's his job, and he does that. He does that very well. And when you can play for a guy like that, you got trust in the game plan. Right? You're not questioning plays, which I've never been a big play call questioner because I don't really know what goes all into doing it, but I just know what he calls usually works so far.
You mentioned getting benched. How hard was that for you to overcome mentally? Because you've been doubted plenty of times, but I imagine you get the taste of being a starter and then you go back to being told you're not quite good enough. How hard was it for you to get past that?
The biggest issue with that whole thing was that I was not good enough. And that was the biggest pill to swallow. But then that was also a lot easier because then I could just go get better, right? And so, I mean, it was difficult, but at least I knew why.
Dumb question for you. Busted this back in the Elite 11 days.
Yeah.
Try 'em, and you look at that photo to where you are now. What are some of the things that come to your mind?
I don't know, man. I still see the same kid. You know, he's pretty stubborn. He needs a haircut. But he knew that then, you know, and he didn't care. So that hat was a rocket.
Yeah.
That was a ballin' move. But I don't know. You know, people ask me a lot. Do you ever see yourself here in this situation? Could you ever imagine? And I'm like, no, not really. But I also never really thought about it. Yes or no. In any way, I knew what we had to do that day, and so I just tried to always do that.
What's it been like getting to know Caleb Williams from the West Coast?
Oh, well, I really haven't gotten to know him yet. I got here, what time was it? 2. I got here around 11. We went to eat, but we ate with our families, kind of sat with our families. He was on his official visit when we came to Athens. I can't remember if I hosted him or...
You said you hosted.
Okay, yeah, I hosted him. I knew we hung out for a while. But he's, you know, a chill dude, baller, I mean, freaking football player. But I'm excited about, that's, you know, besides the honor of this award and all that stuff, I'm really excited to just get to know these guys and who they are, because y'all as fans and media probably know more about each other than we do. You know, I mean, we're worried about what they do if they're running zone or man, or, you know, not really who they are.
You've referenced he's a baller. You watched a lot of his plays or highlights, or go back and watch a game of him as the season's going?
I've watched a few plays of him. Not sat down. I can't. Oh, I watched the UCLA USC highlights, and that was a game. It was a good game, so I enjoyed that.
When was the last time you broke out that hat?
Oh, I can't wear that anymore, man.
So
It'd be douchey.
the fade that you get, the Stickwavius fade.
Yeah.
What do you make of the discussion around that? It seems like you seem to play better when you have that fade. Or are you going to get it before the Heisman ceremony?
Well, I purposely didn't wear it to the SEC championship game because I was like, well, I don't want to become a bit. You know, if I don't, I can't. And so, thank goodness that's out of the way. But no, dude, I just thought it was cool. I always thought it was cool. And the dudes loved it. So I might, who knows. But it was just, I mean, it was the thing before fall camp where some of the dudes were shaving their head, and it was like, we got 11 days in a hotel, nobody's gonna see me. And so I did it, and I think it was Sorey came up and was just, he said, let me fade you up, man. And I said, all right, yeah, you can. And so I let him, and I was like, kind of weird as well. And I had a necklace in too. Granddaddy's rolling over his grave. But, and then played well against Oregon. And then it seemed to be, when I didn't have it, I started playing bad. And when I did have it, I started playing good. And so I started doing it for the big games. And then this past one at LSU, I was just like, we'll just be me this time.
Stetson, what is it?
Did you ever dream of winning the Heisman Trophy? Did you ever have a dream of winning the Heisman Trophy and so when did it start for you?
No, I was telling these guys earlier, I didn't. And I don't know if that was because I'm from South Georgia and I went to 3A and I walked on at UGA and all these stories. And I don't know if I could grasp that I would ever be in a position to do so, or if I kind of think it's more. It's a huge honor and it's very important. But to me, at the moment, it was I'm trying to keep my job. I'm trying to win this game on Saturday. I'm trying to do all this stuff. It's tough to worry about more than just that because that's tough to do. So probably maybe a mixture.
Stetson, you're getting to know a guy that you'll be up against on the 31st. Sometimes fans think players are mortal enemies. What will this experience be like, just getting to know CJ and vice versa, and knowing you'll meet the Buckeyes here in 3 weeks?
Yeah. So far we're cool. We've been chatting. Again, we don't really know him. I think it's hard to get to know somebody whenever, no offense, y'all are around. We got to get out and just be dudes. And I hope we get to do that. I really don't know. But I'm excited. That's one of the reasons that I'm super excited to come up here again, just to get to know them. Hopefully maybe talk a little ball, maybe just get away from ball. I don't know.
But hoping for a dude moment.
Yeah, just like you said, get to know them. These dudes are special dudes, and anytime you get to meet a special dude, I think you should probably learn a little bit.
What's your initial impression of Ohio State?
I've only skimmed through the Ohio State-Michigan game. But they're big, they're long, they look good in the uniform. I've been impressed with, I don't know his name yet, but number 12, I think he plays safety. He runs really well. But I haven't really dove in there really deeply.
You talked about when you watch CJ, what have you seen from him from when you have watched him play?
I've only seen him in passing, but he's very accurate. I think he one of his that I noticed from a few plays was just how he hits them in stride and on time, so then they can do the work. And I think that's
This is Gary Jones of VMH Magazine, VMH Sports out of Atlanta, Georgia. State your name, the reason why you're here, and why you should get the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, I'm not gonna do that last bit.
Okay.
My name is Stetson Bennett. I'm here at the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
What's the mindset of the team right now playing in Atlanta again in the college football play?
I think we're excited and we're still hungry. I think we see it as our season's not over. We're not. That's not what we came into this year trying to accomplish. And it is. But now it's not. Now that it is accomplished, now we've got another goal. And so I think it's hungry. Those boys they're down there running. What time is it? They've got a team meeting at 3, and then they're going to run a little bit and throw a little bit. And I hate that I'm missing it. I'm going to run in here somewhere and maybe try to avoid some people. Maybe have to get a treadmill. I don't know. But we're still hungry and we're excited to play Ohio State. Georgia versus Ohio State doesn't happen very much. I think maybe once in '92 or something. And so it'll be fun.
You were talking about being stubborn. I think that's what you said. Is that right? Okay. Kirby's talked about it a little bit too. What's the fine line in being stubborn and being committed? Or what's the positive for stubborn? What's the fine line there as a quarterback? Not being so stubborn, I guess you could say.
All right, in what way?
You could be so stubborn that you throw into double coverage and get a pick, right?
Well, then, all right. So then I think stubborn and
can stubborn be good?
Yeah. And for me, stubborn is, I guess, standing for what you believe in. And most of the times it's not, but in that sense of why I kept going, that would be what stubborn meant. In other senses, it's more me just being a turd head. But I don't think it maybe it leaks onto the football field per se. You know, I think that would turn into more of a confidence versus stubbornness. But I don't think you can get into the I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do me. That might not be right. So just seeing it, see what the situation calls for. I think that's everything.
Stetson, you said in the girls' were 3 minutes in your speech that people said don't go back to Georgia. Why did they say that?
I think they saw it as a roster filler spot. They're probably right, but I think that's probably why.
Stetson, we live in a microwave generation. Everybody wants stuff right now. What would you tell a young athlete who's chasing down a big dream that sometimes seems like you might not have?
Yeah, dude. I mean, well, I get like that too. Or I am like that. What I'd say is, start practicing little goals that you have to wait for and see how those feel versus the ones that come right away, and then build on that, and then you start to understand what it feels like and that you can get more out of it that way, and then hopefully by the time you're big enough to do something, not big but important, then you know what that feels like and you know how that looks.
Stetson, go back to your decision to return. There was criticism of why don't you just go out on top? Why don't you kind of leave as the king and the hero? Now being back here in New York as a Heisman finalist, is there a sense of validation of coming back this year in your mind?
No. Criticism for wanting to come back. I never understood that one. Not just... Maybe I understood it if they didn't think that I was a good enough player. That's all right. But criticism to bet on yourself, those people are weirdos to me. I don't think you should live your life that way. But what was the second bit?
No, just like, do you feel a sense of validation now that you're here and kind of those that criticize for you coming back, like you accomplished more already just being here than you did last year?
No, I wouldn't say validation, no. Just because there's nothing for me to validate. I just want to play football and be good at it, I didn't do it for anybody else's
What did
sake.
I'm sorry, sometimes I can't hear. What did Todd say?
Sometimes I speak low.
That too. What did Todd say when he said he was going to go with JT? Is that what you were talking about when you lost the job or he benched you?
Well, Coach Smart delivered that one.
Okay, so Kirby talked to you. Can you talk me through that?
Yeah, he was actually very, very nice about it. Because it had happened.
You got hurt at the Florida game, and then.
Well, I got hurt in the Florida game, and then came in and then got eventually pulled. DeJuan went in. So then, I could see it. I really didn't understand it in the moment. I was like, "Why you got to talk to me? I knew I'm benched." But he came in. It was very nice and just, hey, we're gonna give it a go with JT this week. See how this goes. And then obviously, the freaking Joker went through for 400. And I was like, all right, dude, you know what? Can you give me a shot? But went through 400. And I was like, yeah, that's what happens. But it was all very. At that moment, I saw that. Hey, we've lost 2 games. That didn't happen here. So.
Stetson, you remember Caleb was talking about how you apparently hosted him on his visit to Georgia. Do you remember anything about that experience or about him in general at that time?
No, nothing really about the experience. I think we just sat on the couch and watched football. It was me and him, and I think Carson Beck was there actually, old CB. But no, I just remember he was a super cool dude and just chill and down to earth and just a normal dude and didn't really know much about him, but just liked him and knew he was a heck of a player.
Thank you, guys.